Good morning, everybody. I am Janvi and I head the Human Resources at Vidyalankar School of Business. I would like to welcome and congratulate all of you on your admission to the 2 years AICTE approved full-time PhD program of Vidyalankar School of Business. I hope you all have a great year. I hope you all have a great success in the next 2 years. So before we begin today's session, I would like to introduce you all to our CEO, Mr. Rajesh Pillai. Sir comes in with a vast experience of over 25 years across various industries like aviation, media, IT, and ITES sectors, and has been able to use his experience and expertise to enhance the education sector. He has been the guiding force behind VSB and has been instrumental in building the unique features that VSB has to offer to their students and make them industry and corporate ready. I request Rajesh sir to please take the session ahead. Over to you, Rajesh sir.
Thank you, Janvi. Guys, am I audible enough? You can all say yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're still in the class, don't worry. This is not a very typical corporate life today, okay? So let me start by saying a very, very warm welcome to all of you, all right? First thing, start making mistakes if you haven't. And starts with a Zoom call, all right? So don't get embarrassed if your video goes off and you say something, it's all fine, all right? The next 2 years are all about learning, unlearning, and relearning. Okay, guys? Can I hear a big yes from everybody? No problem. You can all shout if you want to.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
That sounds like a class. Yes. Okay. I have some of our last batch students. Hi, Aniket. Good to see you.
Hello, sir.
We have, boys have grown to become men now. So it's very nice to see them. All right. And let me again warmly welcome. Hi, Prasad. Good to see you too.
Hello, sir.
Okay. It's very nice to see students from our old batches too. My only message before, of course, introducing Mr. Sudhir to all of you is this is your first learning. Believe me, the fact that you have to start the biggest move in your career in terms of your education is happening online. All right. I'm sure none of you wanted this to happen, but this is probably the first thing that you're going to learn. Life is unpredictable. All right. And this is going to be more unpredictable for the future because, maybe, people like Sudhir and myself who are the little older generation have probably had a little more stability in our lives. And, we could probably predict the possible changes in the near future. But let me tell you guys, you're coming into an era where things can change, forget overnight, in minutes and minutes. All right. So be brave enough to deal with it. All right. Don't shy away from asking questions. All right. You will have a lot of questions coming your way. You may want to learn a lot of new things. And a lot of that happens when you question a lot of things that happen around you. All right. So one of the reasons we excel in what we do, I'm not taking all the credit for it, but fundamentally is because we allow our students and everybody else to question the way things happen. All right. And that's the only way we're going to learn a lot of things. Right. So, of course, I've met most of you. I've spoken to most of you for sure, or rather all of you for sure earlier. Some of you are probably seeing me for the first time. Also, that's another new for us. Otherwise, we would probably meet all our new students every time they join us. All right. We happen to meet virtually today, but surely very soon we will be meeting all of you on a one-to-one basis, or at least in a smaller group in the campus in the coming few months. Right. And all I can say is you've taken a very big leap. All right. You've been very brave. All right. And pat yourselves for that. All right. And all I can guarantee is you're going to have a ride of your lifetime. All right. And I'm sure when you speak to your seniors, as they would love to be called now, okay, they would surely have enough to guide you through. All right. So guys, welcome again. And let me start by now introducing Sudhir Mateti. Mr. Sudhir Mateti is a very passionate trainer and is into training and development as a professional. All right. He is a life coach and a counselor and works on a rural student development and to build nation's future workforce. He has over 24 years of experience. He's worked with Reliance Infocom, Tata, SR Group, Aditya Birla Retail, and he's currently with the Arvind Group, with the Syntel Telecom and NK Converged Technologies for the last 11 years. Okay. He's also a very motivated speaker and a visiting faculty to many of the business schools and engineering colleges. Okay, and I understand that he's very popular with the students too. So, Mr. Sudhir, we are very, very happy to have you on board today. And I'm sure to see a lot of students today joining this call. And some of them might be using their Zooms for the first time. I'm just assuming that, so don't quote me for that. But we hand it over to you. And I'm sure they will all be looking forward to what you have to tell them about what the future holds for them. Over to you, sir. So you're on mute.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Rajesh sir. It was a wonderful introduction. And by your beginning of the talk, I understand that you resonate the value that I bring on table, or that I think that is applying life skills in the journey. I see the enthusiasm that you have shown to the students. It's very important for all of us at our level to go down to the level of the students, understand their challenge and show that enthusiasm. Amazing to see, sir, with your enthusiastic approach, and also to talk to these students and encourage them to ask and do mistakes. Absolutely, my school of thought and your school of thoughts are exactly in line with the same. I'm so happy. This is the first time when a college senior is telling students not to fear to make a mistake. Most of the time, I always see teaching faculties are generally the disciplinarians. They will ask people to stand in queue, follow principles, follow disciplines. In fact, the current generation and the current technology evolvement and the current industry is all about breaking protocols and breaking rules. My only school of thought to begin with, or before I began my own talk, is that all those people who can think out of the box, all those people who have the courage to voice their thoughts and go against the standard set protocols are the ones who are going to create history. Otherwise, we will follow the same queue that millions of people are following, and we may be probably million. So, wonderful statement that you made, Dr. Rajesh, and it's amazing to hear you. I must appreciate, and we must connect later on to continue our work that we do in the industry.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
So, thank you so much. I welcome all of you here. I thank Madam Alpa, who has connected me to the students. And I see a lot of students, with their videos on. I have probably in this COVID taken almost 40 webinars, and most of the students hesitate to come on the video. And most of the students hesitate to ask questions. Most of the students have their questions in their mind and would text their friend to ask the same question that they wanted to ask. So I will again, encourage students to voice their thoughts. Don't hesitate whether you'll disturb the speaker or not disturb the speaker. It is up to the speaker to answer your question and, maintain the flow of the talk. But your questions are of paramount importance to me. If in case you feel impromptu, want to say something, please voice your thoughts. The only request that I would have is maintain the decorum of the session so that others get an opportunity to listen to you and the speaker and others who participate in this webinar. But the whole intent and the objective of this webinar is to give a thought which I want to share about the current scenario. Yes, Rajesh sir, you're saying something.
No, sir. All yours. Absolutely.
Okay. So once again, I welcome all the students, all the faculties, and probably ex-students, the entire fraternity who are here to give, their valuable time to me and listen to me. So the whole topic for the day is reset yourself for the modern era. Let me tell you, I would like to begin this with something called attitude. Most of us have commonly heard from our parents, from our faculties, from seniors that we should have a positive attitude in life. It's very easy to hear, it's very easy to say, but it's very difficult to implement. It's always a Gyan session from everyone to hear that have a positive attitude. But let me, go back and look at this statement from a student's perspective who is either entering a curriculum or entering a master's degree or probably giving a final year during the COVID-19 era. How can someone be positive when such economic downturn is happening, when such pandemic is happening, when we are uncertain about future, when we are uncertain about job opportunities, when we are uncertain about the skill set that we are working towards, will that apply in the near future or there will be different? When we are uncertain about life per se and health per se as well. So when there are so many uncertainties, it is very easy for any faculty or a speaker like me to say, think positive and be positive. And it's very easy to understand to be positive, but no one tells us how to be positive. To be positive is a wonderful statement, but how to be positive? What should we do to be positive? What are the actionables that one needs to do to be positive? Yes, I may hope. It's like asking you to have a hope that you will have a bright future. It's like asking you to have a hope that you will acquire all these skill sets that are required in the industry. It's asking you to have a hope against the entire, negativity or the entire downturn or the slow turn or the pandemic impact globally and internationally, asking you to still have a hope that you will do better with no tools given to you, with no modern equipments given to you, with no information of technology given to you, with no actual implementation goals or targets given to you. So I call all these Gyan session which does not give you any tool as pravachan. And these pravachans does not help anybody. This is nice to hear, good to hear, brings smile on our faces, and we are motivated like watching a Jackie Chan movie for 20 minutes. We are excited to be a sports person, but it fades away after 20 minutes. Because there is nothing, no takeaways. It is only a spirit, which is a motivation, which is given as an injection for 20, 30 minutes or probably a day. Yes, I don't say that most motivational talks or positive talks are useless. They are really good, but they inspire only 10% of the people who have a drive in them. And even if we don't give these motivational speeches, or even if we don't give this Gyan, these 10% of people will anyway be successful. I am talking about these 90% of people or 90% of people who probably do not have that drive in them, or probably who are of an average cadre, or probably who do not know what to do for a better future. In every classroom, there are probably 60, 70 or 80, whatever number of people, students they have. You ask your faculties, every year there will be the top 10% of people who will excel. Always. The top 10 are the people who are academically successful. The last 10 are the people whom we call as backbenchers, and the remaining 80% of the people fall in the average category. Yes, all of them at the end of your journey will land up in a job. All of you at the end of your journey will get some salaries. All of you will drag your life the way most millions of people in the globe drive. But what shall we do differently so that we are not among the herd? Number one question. Second important question is, what differently shall we do while we are facing a pandemic situation which has changed the entire world scenario. The world is extremely topsy-turvy now. All philosophies which worked in the entire years till now will not work now. Going ahead, the philosophies will change. So what are we going to do, or what should we ideally do, is $1 million question. My entire talk from here on will talk about something that we need to focus upon very acutely and very, with very lot of focus, so that we get ourselves reset to the new norm in the industry. New norm not only in the Indian industry, but new norm in the global industry. Correct? And it will require a titanic effort from everyone, not only students, also from the faculties, also from the deans, and also from the education ministry, also from the industry veterans. Everyone together collectively will have to work towards attacking this topsy-turvy world now. It is not going to happen overnight. It is going to take a long term. But yes, let me address you. I feel that all those people who are entering into the education curriculum in this pandemic are the most luckiest one. Most people feel that who are in this pandemic are unlucky because they are facing a different topsy-turvy challenge. But I feel whenever after every decade there is a dynamic paradigm shift that happens. After every decade or 1.5 decades, there is a paradigm shift that happens. And all those who are a part of this paradigm shift get 2 lives learning in one shift. Otherwise, you don't get. Mr. Rajesh Pillai and me, we have worked for almost like 3 decades, and we have got 3 lessons in 3 decades. So imagine your journey begins with a decade's learning instantly.
Yeah.
Isn't it fortunate? It is the way we look at it, So it is important for all of us to look at this situation as a, volcanic eruption of a paradigm shift, and you are a part of that eruption, and which will give you an immense learning. So your journey begins with a titanic new learning. I take this extremely positive, but all those people who are focused to make this learning as a learning note, as a stepping stone, all those people who are determined to make the most of this opportunity are the people who are going to swim, are the people who are going to go ahead. Remember, this is the time when you have to swim against the current of the waters. So you will not only have to beat your hands and legs extremely hard, but also use techniques and technology to swiftly glide yourself ahead in the ocean against the current and move ahead. So there is a lot of elements that will come into action for you to swim ahead against the current. So all these are looking like phrases and dialogues. Let me give you practical examples of life, what I am trying to say, so that you will understand or relate to what I am trying to say. Okay. First, since you are entering into a curriculum, I welcome all of you on behalf of the college, on behalf of Rajesh Pillai and all the fraternity, to have a wonderful learning session here on from here. And secondly, I also wish that this team, this batch which graduates, should graduate with a silver lining to the dark cloud. This team should graduate with some new learning which no other decade in the industry has ever got that learning. This team should learn something which should be by default programmed for you to learn. Let me tell you a few examples. Never in the history has ever happened that an induction program happened over Zoom. This is the first time that an induction program is happening over Zoom. All of you are sitting at your respective places. I can see the backdrop wall, I can see your beds, I can see your home decor, and I can see your faces. Correct? So did you ever imagine that in such an environment, you will be attending an induction program? Or probably you will be addressed by a college faculties in such an environment. No, this is happening for the first time in the history. Correct? Not necessarily all of you may be geographically present here. In the last webinar which I took, I had probably globally everybody from different parts of the globe attending the webinar. This was the first time in the history of my 24 years of experience that I addressed global leaders on a webinar sitting at my house on a sofa. So isn't it such wonderful? Now, on one end, if you look at it, if your old traditional attitude says it's such a challenge, you can't meet people in person. But if you look this as an opportunity, it is such a wonderful opportunity that I don't have to travel to Mumbai to your college to address you. I'm sitting at my home and addressing you. Correct? I don't have to travel globally to Australia, New Zealand, or US to address those students that I'm sitting here in Pune and addressing students in US and probably Antarctica. I can contact anybody, anywhere. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Now, second most important thing is that for someone who has to learn, the decade-old principle says that if you have to learn and if you are determined to learn, whatever be the situation, you will learn. If I go back to our epics, Eklavya learned from Dronacharya even when Dronacharya disagreed to be his coach. He just learned from him because he had a great determination to learn. So one thing for sure, all those students present here, if you want to learn and make the most of your life, I am sure you will learn. So the determination which me and Rajesh sir bring from the traditional school of thoughts still holds great value today. So I must say that all students here should have that determination to learn. Now, what to learn and how to learn and the other aspects of learning is what I will focus in my entire talk today. But the first most important principle is you should have an attitude to pick up wonderful things in life. Let me go back to the second important question that I would want to share here is, what is the whole purpose of learning? Most of the students understand that the whole purpose of learning is to acquire a job. And what is the whole purpose of acquiring a job is to earn bread and butter. Simple. I should be able to run my life. I should be able to pay my EMIs of the education loan. I should be able to run my kitchen. I should be able to pay certain fees. Please understand that if money is something that runs your life, you're on a wrong note. This does not run anybody's life. Money is a source for our survival. And I'm sure all those people who are here are well equipped enough to manage your survival. Let me tell you what is the objective of learning. The objective of learning is not for a job. The objective of learning is to bring various dimensions to our thought process. The objective of learning is to look at a situation from different perspectives. The objective of learning is to pick out the meritorious point of various discussions on the table. The objective of learning is to have a wisdom in ourselves to pick the right and the wrong ones. The objective of learning is to bring up an attitude which will enable us to help people who are not as fortunate as we are. The objective of learning is to collectively build society together so that it becomes a far better place to live in than what we lived in. The objective of learning is to make our quality of life more enriching, not by material gains, but by thought process and by spiritual and philosophical gains. So this is a larger perspective of learning. So all those learnings that you will acquire in your curriculum, while those tools will enable you to acquire a job, but the whole purpose, the job also is, the objective of a job also is to learn further. The objective of a job is also to enable people to do their best. I am in HR for the last 24 years and I have picked up this HR job not only because I wanted a job and I wanted a salary. Let me honestly confess here for the first time in public that in 24 years, I have never ever bothered about what am I taking home in terms of salary. I have just worked and ensured that I get some basic which the organization gives me. I have not bothered to check what I get also. I only ensure that whatever pay packet I get, my life runs within that pay packet. That's it. I have never asked in last 24 years to any of my managers, sir, how much increment in terms of money will I get? Whenever I changed 4 jobs in 24 years, and never did I ever ask my comp and benefit manager that, sir, how much percentage hike are you giving? When they asked me in an interview, sir, what is your expectation? I said, learning is my expectation. I expect to learn a lot from this organization. They said, sir, you didn't get my question. I'm asking you, what is the package that you're expecting? I said, you are a better judge than me. My job is to work. Your job is to pay. So you decide what you have to pay. So in my entire 24 years of experience, believe me, students, I have never bothered about what will I get. I have always bothered about what will I learn and what will I give to the organization, to the society and the people around and to my team around. The more you focus on what you give, the more God will bless you on what you will get. It is a simple principle of give and take. And I believe you should focus on giving. Let me also give you the definition of take home according to me. Most of the people understand take home is equal to salary. Take home is equal to net amount that you get deposited in your bank. According to me, take home is what learnings you take home every day, and cumulative learning that you take home every month, and cumulative learning that you take home every year, versus what have you implemented out of the learning that you have took home. In last 24 years, never a single night I have slept without asking one question to my own self, that is, Mr. Mateti, what have you learned and what have you implemented that will make a difference to people? If you ask this question to yourself, that what have you learned and what have you implemented of the learning that you have learned that will make a difference to first to your own self, then to your own family, then to larger audience in the society. Let's say all of you, to give you an hypothetical example, all of you are gadget oriented. I believe the younger generation is far more gadget oriented than me and Mr. Rajesh. We are old school of thought. We struggle to fiddle with the gadgets and probably with great difficulty get some technology instrument into our gadgets. The younger generation could be probably 10 times faster than us in doing all these things. And your younger brothers and sisters could be still faster than what you are. So this is how life is, correct? But have you made the most of this technology? The answer is no. When WhatsApp was introduced, I was the first person to use WhatsApp for a seminar, and I conducted what seminar? I conducted a seminar on WhatsApp for learning purpose. I conducted a seminar on all the possible tools available so that I could reach to the larger audience. So here is an example of what you have versus how you utilize those things. All of you use WhatsApp to chat with friends. All of you use WhatsApp for gossiping. All of you use WhatsApp. Most of the girls use WhatsApp to decide for a dress code or a color for a dress to wear on an occasion. I have seen my spouses and my colleagues, deciding the color of a sari for an event on WhatsApp. Should I wear this sari or this garment or that fabric? I don't say that is unimportant, but what I say is that we can make the utmost of a WhatsApp by sharing technology, using technology for learning purpose. I have used WhatsApp to give jobs to lots of people. I have used WhatsApp to share resumes. I have used WhatsApp to design resumes. I have used WhatsApp to give knowledge sessions. I have used WhatsApp to create a group so that people can, self-help group where people can help each other. I have created WhatsApp for industry veterans who can help the job seekers in this pandemic. So just an example to tell you that if your intent is right and if you have the technology and the tools, you will apply this. This entire analogy is all about application of knowledge that you have. So if you apply the knowledge that you have, sky is the limit. I believe all of you could be extremely good at writing skills. I believe all of you could be good at presenting your projects well, So presentation skills, writing skills comes natural to the younger generation versus the effort that me and Mr. Rajesh took in our generation time to build these things up. So all these things come very natural to these students. But the sad part is these natural skill sets are not optimally used for betterment of your own productivity. They are used for some other purpose, but not for the core purpose that you are moving ahead for. So to sum it up, let me put in bullet points. First, let me tell you all students should have a clear goal year-wise. So if this is your first year, please have a clear goal that you will learn A, B, C, D in this year. Now these A, B, C, D should be categorically written. Please understand that don't write your subject names as your learning goals. That is not your learning goals. Please understand that you have to learn more than what your curriculum gives you, which I call in my language as life skills. Okay. Now, where will you get these life skills from? All the faculties, all HODs and all the faculties who teach you various subjects, they bring a lot of wisdom of knowledge and lot of wisdom of experience that they bring with them. While they teach your subjects, you learn those subjects from them as a curriculum aspect, but please also learn the richness of their experience and wisdom, which enables them to bring these contexts and these case studies to you. So if you cut, copy, paste 10% of the wisdom and knowledge and the richness of experience your faculties, HODs and deans have, believe me, you have learned more than the curriculum. Those are the life skills that you need to focus. If one of the faculty is a strict disciplinarian, I see most of the students in the grapevine, when they see on a tea, chai ka tapri or a katta, they make fun of these faculties. You know, it's very easy to make fun of a faculty, yes, either by an accent or by a dress that they wear or probably various things that they say, you know. But please understand that every faculty brings a USP on table. You know, a faculty who follows discipline has been benefited by that discipline in her lifetime or in or his or her lifetime. And please understand what is the advantage that that discipline virtue has given that faculty in life. If you understand that and inculcate some portion of that discipline in you, your life will be richer. If some faculty brings out of the box thinking element to you on table while teaching you the curriculum, you please go back to that faculty and understand what benefit this virtue has given to this faculty, what richness of experience that faculty brings to you on table, and try to learn something beyond what is inherited in him as a virtue and a quality and ethical and moral systems. Believe me, you will learn more than what your curriculum teaches you. Books will teach you simple principles, but philosophies behind those principles can be learned only when you get connected to the faculty at a larger level. Your best friend in your college should be your faculties, not your friends who sit beside you. If you make the best friendship with your faculties, believe me, they are the one who can give you the best of the knowledge in the simplest of the packet and the best of the value system that can bring to you. This is first advice that I would want to give to the students here. Secondly, while you are sharing, taking knowledge from your faculties, it is a wonderful opportunity for faculties also to learn from the young generation. It always is twofold, it is never one-fold. Understand that these young generation may not have those etiquettes of respect that we expect from them as traditional students used to give. They may address you by first name because of the culture that they are born in, developed into. That does not mean, this is to the faculties, that does not mean they don't respect us. It is their culture that they talk to people with first name. But the respect from them we will get only when we associate with them, when we understand their challenges, their difficulties, and speak to them being at that level. The moment we as faculty become friends with them, we have a great opportunity to learn technological trends from them. We have the great understanding about how the relationship have grown from various decades to the new decades, how to handle these challenges, and so many other things. The psychology of a student 10 years ago versus today is extremely different. Let us understand from a faculty point of view. If I am a faculty, I look at these students as my customers. I believe that these are the customers who should do great in their life. If these customers do great in their life, the next generation customers will be always a fan follower for me. If these customers do not do well in their life, the next customers will never believe me. So for me, my students are my customers, irrespective of what culture, creed, language, and terminology they use to address me. I am programmed to call as yes, sir. But if they say, hi, Sudhir, I should not be rubbed off. I should accept that. I should understand that the intent is to be more friendly than disrespect. If I am open to these changes of the students, and if I am open to have a hand of the student on my shoulder as a friend, believe me, I have gained their respect rather than disrespect is what I believe. So for a faculty point of view, I believe these students are warm, but their approach of showing warmth is extremely different than what we expect them to show. So let us forget different approach roads. Let us forget whether this road is right or that road is right. This approach road is better or that approach road is better. Let us also not assume intent of various people by the approach road that they have chosen. Let us understand one common goal that all of us are associated with. If we have a common goal, common vision, and common mission, I think whichever road we come from, we all will reach a final destination. The common goal is to learn beyond the curriculum. The common goal is to adapt to modern life skills which are needed to swim in the current ocean of pandemic and the paradigm shift that the world is going through. The current goal is to ensure that our life is more richer than what we presume it to be. The current goal is to ensure that materialistic gains are not going to give richness of life. Materialistic goals will only limit you to do certain things to a certain level. Last but not the least, the current goal is not to get a high pay packet. Remember, people who earn a high pay packet are successful is a wrong notion. People who are happy in life by what they are doing are successful people. This is the right notion. Dr. Rajesh or Rajesh Pillai sir is not doing this just because he wants to earn money. I am sure he is doing this because he is passionate to build young generation. He is passionate about what he is doing. Money is secondary and it is a byproduct, and it is required to build certain infrastructure or certain facilities for students. And if you have a great intent and passion, all these things sooner or later will fall into place. I must salute all faculties and all seniors who are here for the passion that they are dedicatedly working endlessly towards building these students' career. So I must say that all these students should also respect such virtue and follow and adapt such virtue in their life. So remember, for students to learn life skills, the first area where they can learn these life skills is from your home. Please understand the values and virtues that you get from the family. Your parents give a lot of value system to you. One of the common questions that I ask to every interviewer or every student that I interview is, what value system did you learn from your parents? This is one of the most common questions that I ask to all students. And if the students do not have that answer, which means that they have not closely been related or have been close to their parents. That means they have not learned anything. And if you have not learned anything from your parents, I doubt what you will learn from your faculties. So please understand that your parents bring some value system. Your mother will bring a different value system. Your father will bring a different value system. Please learn these value systems from them. What I learned from my mother in last 50 years is that she is an exemplary example of customer service, irrespective of her health, mood, or monotone of work. She has been going beyond her call of duty to serve the family. She is like a soldier at the war front, the way she handled the family. So the tireless efforts that she has given to the family is an excellent example of the world's best customer service award that should go to my mother. And I believe that's what I have learned from my mother, and that is what I want to give it back to the society, that I should serve the society the way the mother served our family. Now, my definition of family is little larger, so that's why I bring society into the picture. So I believe everybody's mother. The mothers are the best chef in the world. The mothers are the best doctors in the world. The mothers are the best financial planner for the family in the world. The mothers are the best conflict management tools she has to manage the siblings, the husbands, the joint family conflict managers. And the mothers are the best example of PR. She represents the family in all the marriages and social functions. Correct? So there are a lot of value systems that we learn from our parents, and we undermine them and we neglect them and we don't watch and learn from them. It is so unfortunate. I salute the women of India who play multiple roles. If your faculty is a male member and a female member, please salute the women faculties, because they do much more than the male members in the society. When they come to your college at 7 a.m. in the morning, believe me, they have already fought a battle at home, and then they have arrived peppy at your college at 7 a.m. in the morning. It is not easy for a man to attend a college at 7 a.m. They just have to take a bath, get ready, and to be at the college. But for a woman to be at the college at 7 a.m., she has to, do a Kargil war in morning 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the house, and then be at your college, and then be as peppy as you see her as. So it's a titanic operational work that someone is doing. And believe me, at the back of the mind, a lady faculty has her daughter going to college, or has her daughter eaten her food on time? Is her health okay? Is she everything at the backdrop of the house okay or not? As a father, I'm a father of a son. I don't remember my son when I'm at office, but I'm sure my wife remembers my son when she's at office. So the backdrop of the thought process that a woman brings on table is immense. So can we learn these from them? These are great value systems. These are great life skills. A woman's life is nothing less than a soldier's life at Kargil border. And if all of us can learn this from them, I am sure that you are picking up the right life skills. Second is, when you go to the college, believe me, ensure that in the pantry, when you have a tea, coffee with your friends also, every interaction with everybody, whether it is a liftman, whether it is a security guard, or whether it is a chai wala, tapri wala boy, or anybody, understand that every interaction should give you learning. Have that eye to detail that you will have to learn in every interaction. I see a small boy who brings a cup of tea at a tapri also has aspirations. He also dreams of becoming big. And what more than a resident of India can ever imagine a chai wala can become a president of India or a prime minister of India? Correct? So we understand that aspirations build people, and aspirations can grow to any level. So if you look at every interaction that you have with anybody, please never respect people by the brand of car they have, by the house that they have in which locality, or by the branded clothes that they wear. No. Respect people by the virtue they bring to you when they talk to you. Respect people by the respect that they give to various people. I always tell in my workshop that an executive is someone who is executive 24/7, not only in office 8 hours. And the moment they step out of office cabin, they talk rubbish language. They are not executives. Executives are the ones who 24/7 talk like an executive with a lot of etiquette and respect to each and every member of the people they interact with, irrespective of the people's designation, qualities, and whatever they are. So if you look at life as a learning opportunity, the next 2 years is going to bring you 3 decades of learning opportunities. And if you want to absorb them like a sponge, you are the most luckiest person on earth to absorb those things. So this is one piece of advice that I want to give to all students here. Second piece of advice that I would want to give here is that please understand you will have to have a knack of keeping a track of trends of technology in the current affairs. Please understand that you will have to know what ISRO is doing. Please understand that you will have to understand what NASA is doing. Please understand what are the digital platforms that people are doing. Please understand what are the technological trends that are happening from iOS to Android to what, .NET to Java, whatever. Irrespective of whether you want to go in software or whether you don't want to go in software. Your career goals are different, but understanding technological trends is different. I am not saying, even being in HR, I need to understand the technological trends because I use these technologies to communicate to my employees. I use these technologies to build a reporting system. I use these technologies so that a salesperson in the field can mark his attendance while he's on the field. I use these technologies to do a performance management system to appraise them even when they are not physically present. I use this technological system to get feedback from 360 degrees of an employee so that I appraise him with a fair amount of information with me on table. Correct? So though I am not an IT guy, I'm an HR guy, but I still need technology to function. Today I am talking to you being in HR using technology. Correct? So irrespective of the domain that you select to grow in your life, be it marketing, be it technology, be it engineering, or be it whatever, I think you should be upgraded with technological advancement in the industry. So all of you should be, because now the information is available at your fingertips. So make the most of this information and ensure that you are updated with the technological changes that are happening in the world. What is happening in Europe will come 2 or 3 years later in India. So if you know about that right now, you are 3 years ahead. So it is important that you need to understand anything that's happening in India, you need to understand how globally things are happening. If you learn about a subject in your curriculum, it is your responsibility, not the faculty's responsibility, to understand on that subject what are the various case studies of that subject, whether it is manufacturing department, whether it is IT, whether it is software, or whether it is probably an infrastructure company. You know, no, and not only in India, probably an infrastructure company's challenges in India is different, and an infrastructure company's challenge in China and probably in Africa or probably European countries could be different. So our one important skill set, all of you must write down and must have in yourself without fail to excel in life, is the art of researching. If you can research on a subject thoroughly well, if you can deep dive into a subject thoroughly well so that you go beyond information to collect more information and put your perspective on that piece of information, opinionate, and collect multiple opinions from industry veterans about this subject says this information says this article says this, what is your opinion, and put your opinion and keep on validating. You will soon realize that your ability to, think will improve. I will suggest one book. To think is a creative thing. All of us think that we all think, but our ability to think beyond a certain point, to raise our ability to think, is very, very important. Dr. Bruno is someone who wrote a book on how to think. So if you have the capability to think beyond what you can think, I think you are scaled up. So this is one ability, and this ability will come to you only by practicing the art of researching. If you research on a subject, whatever be the subject, let's say you have a pocket money and how to make the most of that pocket money. This is $1 million question, and if you research on this, you will do a perfect study of this. Any topic that you take, if you research, I am a little obese, what kind of clothes should I wear? If you research on this subject, you will get multiple school of thoughts. So there are various topics of daily life, but one element that can take you one notch above your ability to think is the ability to research on a subject. So please do a lot of research on various subjects, lot of research on various behavior patterns. There are some people who aggressively talk. There are some people who are sensitive, who don't talk. Remember, silence also speaks. So if you have the ability to understand the silence of your friend or colleague, believe me, you are a very great communicator. You are someone who understands silence. You are someone who understands communication. You are someone who understands words. You are someone who understands body language. So if you understand all these things And if you try to understand all these things by virtue of an analytical mind, I am sure you will grow. Sooner or later, let me tell you one more success formula. I have seen a lot of leaders, people who have more knowledge are successful is a wrong formula. There are a lot of people who have tremendous knowledge, but not always knowledge wins. People who have great people management skills, the commonality between people who have excelled are the people who have great people management skills. So if you have great people management skills, you will excel. Now, how do we develop these people management skills? It is very easy for me to say, but let me also give you certain tools so that you can work on this. I will never say a statement without giving you tools. So let me try to give you some tools. If you have a friend circle, every friend will come with a contradictory school of thought, diverse school of thoughts on any subject. Let's say you go to a canteen, you say, I will eat Maggi, someone will say, I will eat chapati sabji, someone will say, I will eat samosa, and someone will say whatnot. So which means 4 close friends do not order the same dish, which surely indicates that all of them think differently. Someone is health conscious when he orders a food. Someone is taste bud conscious when he orders a food. Someone is quantity conscious when he orders a food, that it should be filling for my stomach. Correct? Someone is probably variety conscious when he orders a food. So everybody's school of thought is different. This is just a daily life example that I'm quoting. Now, you will have to think beyond a point to understand why someone has ordered this food. What is his pattern of thinking? If you understand some human's pattern of thinking and the standard approach of thinking by every behavior that he has displayed in your friendship, you will realize that this gentleman's school of thought is this. He generally thinks like that. So next time, if you have to propose a proposal to this friend, a business proposal to this friend, you will think from his perspective and have his FAQs ready with you and prepare a project with this school of thought and present. Most likely your project will be accepted. So understanding people's perspective, understanding people's various school of thoughts, understanding people's diagonal or lateral thinking pattern, if you are able to develop this, this is the first basics of building people management skills in you. So the key theme here is accepting diverse thoughts, accepting contrary thoughts, accepting diversified opinions. Most people reject opinions which are contrary to our opinion. Let's say if I say that communication skills are extremely important to succeed, and if someone says, sir, communication skill is not at all important, most faculty will reject this school of thought because it is contradicting my school of thought. I will say always welcome contradicting school of thoughts and try to understand the merit in the opponent's school of thought. Add those merit to your merit. So now you have 2 merits in your school of thought, A and B. Similarly, if you are able to apply multiple merits of multiple school of thoughts, imagine your basic raw material is such rich that it is very difficult to reject such a rich thought. But what is the first roadblock? The first roadblock is ability to accept contrary or diverse school of thoughts. This is where people management skills are not built. This is where people don't accept people. That is why we always dislike people who don't appreciate us. We always like people who appreciate us. You go with your friends and check. Most of your friends are the people who appreciate you. And anybody who does not appreciate you, you will not like it. Let me honestly tell you, I am very talkative in nature. You might have understood by now. I am non-stop talking. Correct? So I am very talkative in nature. When I was a young collegian like you, all those people who appreciated talkativeness were my friends. And all those people who were introvert did not appreciate talkativeness were away from me. Because birds of a feather flock together. Correct? So then I realized that if all talkative people become friends, who are going to listen to me? Because everybody wants to talk. Then out of a blue, I went to a group who were extremely introvert and became a part of that group. I realized that they were better listeners than my actual friends. I realized that I gave them a platform to speak. I gave them that, okay, I will build that extrovertness in you and build that ability of public speaking in you. While I tried to build them up, I realized that they had rich school of thoughts which I never had an exposure to, but just because they were introvert, it did not came upfront to me. So this gave me a larger horizon to learn about people who had valuable thoughts in them but locked because they were not conversant. So this gave me a school of thought that, wow, there are millions of ideas hidden in a heart. It is that I didn't have the chavi to open that heart. And this I learned during my college days, and even today in my counseling session and in my conflict management sessions or in my mergers and acquisitions that I mix various people of different cultures, I use that chabi. So believe me, if you have friends who are similar to you, your learning opportunity diminishes. If you have friends who are contrary the way you are, your learning capability increases. So please make friends with people who are extremely contrary to you and who do not appreciate you. Because they do not appreciate you for something that you don't have. And if you make friendship with them, you will build those qualities in you. It is an opportunity. This is the way you will learn accepting diverse thoughts. This is the way you will learn life skills. This is the way you will learn people management skills. So if you do all these three things, believe me, you will learn the most of it in your learning curriculum. So my advice to people is, please make friendship with people who are not in line with your school of thoughts, who are contrary to the school of thoughts. The common things that people do. People talk to people who are attractive by physical personality. You know, if a girl or a boy knows to carry himself well, you know, people are attracted because yes, he or she is smart. You know, please understand, smartness is not in physical appearance. Smartness is in the thought process. Please make friends based on thought process, not on physical or external appearances. My mother was the most beautiful woman on earth, but she never looked beautiful like model. Because I believe her thought process was the richest on earth. That's why I feel she was the most beautiful woman on earth. My sister is the second most beautiful woman on earth because she has given me great virtues that I learned from her. She's a doctor. And I could learn great virtues from her. You know, my best friend, if I show you his photograph, you will laugh. He is 180 kilos. He is the fattest man in India, probably. He is bad with health. But believe me, he has given me such wonderful lessons of life that no B schools or no engineering school would have ever given me. So if I give you a picture of the best people of my life, none of them are beautiful, including me. So we are not physically presentable, but we bring a lot of value on table. So what does this indicate? This indicates that you have to collectively be with people who have diverse school of thoughts and who have better horizons than us. So one more technical tip that I will give to the students. Please make a wonderful LinkedIn profile. This pandemic has taught us to be digitally strong. All those students who are digitally strong will grow in life. So in these 2 years of curriculum, I request faculties and the students to focus on this point, which is of paramount importance, which I'm going to say now. Okay? All faculties should teach students how they have to present themselves in the digital platform. Whether it is LinkedIn, whether it is Facebook, whether it is Twitter, whether it is Instagram, whether it is WhatsApp. They have to have these digital platforms professionally made. If your curriculum teaches them how, because this is their presence, if your curriculum should by default teach them to have a decent professional outlook for all these platforms. I don't want a student having a fancy selfie on a LinkedIn photo. I don't want a student having a photo which probably does not suit a professional attire. Correct? I don't want a student having a personalized birthday cake cutting photo on a LinkedIn photo. Remember, you are presenting yourself professionally. And remember your LinkedIn profile also and your Facebook. Facebook is no longer a personal website or a personal link. Please don't post pictures with your pets, with your dogs, with your cats, and with singing and dancing. I understand you have immense talent in you, but do you think these talents will fetch you a professional job? Please highlight something that you wish to highlight. Don't highlight something which subconsciously, without knowing, you are highlighting on a social media. Remember that your window to the world is the social media. So I wish that in next 2 years, which is 24 months, please plot on a calendar, 24 months. Every month you have to connect to some industry veteran who is in the domain where you wish to graduate to. Secondly, every month you have to chat with him and discuss the current technological trends or advancement in the industry so that they become information source of what is happening in the industry. Please ensure that your pool of connections become not large in numbers, but quality connects, so that you get not only information, but also transformation by learning from them. Please ensure that while you are talking with them, the FAQs, the questions that you have asked with them in next 24 months, they will understand what kind of resource you are. Before your campus placement drives happen, they should write to you, don't attempt a campus placement, please come back to me for work. If you are able to do this, you can bring a lot of value on table. Please highlight your passion, highlight your skill set, highlight your USP, and highlight your forte on the digital platforms. Don't highlight who is your best friend. Don't wish your best friend a birthday on the social media. You can wish your best friends a happy birthday by talking to him, by meeting him, by calling him, but not declaring on social media that, wow, Sir is a great friend of mine. In fact, you can write, what have you learned from Rajesh sir on the social media? So people understand that you have learned this from Rajesh sir and this has become your new learning and this virtue you have added to your profile. So remember, the most important skill set that will enable you to swim in this post-pandemic era is your digital presence and the professional digital presence. I want all faculties and students to make a note of this point, and this will be the turning point of your career going ahead. And remember, immediately after this webinar, go to your social media and delete everything that you think is junk. Please don't fill your social media with any junk material. Filter it 10 times before you post anything. Spell check everything that you have done. Use great vocabulary. Use modern tools to use better words than what you already have in your vocabularies. Prepare each posting, each article as a piece of art before you publish anything. So if I were you, I would have taken these 4 goals. First, I would have published 1 article every month presenting my school of thought on a subject. If I were you, I would have done is presented some technological advancement which I noticed which is happening and my opinion about that advancement in a post. If I were you, what would I have done is connected to various industry veterans and started chatting with them about some career goals or aspirations or probably technological advancement or what's happening around him or some case studies. If I were you, I would have identified 4 mentors from the industry who are experts in the domain which I want to become and taken them as mentors and made them as Dronacharyas, and I would have become Eklavya. These are the 4 steps I would have taken to become a great professional after 24 months if I would have been in your place. I hope this should give you some insights how you need to graduate from here. Second most important thing is that when I see your connections on your social media, I get to know what kind of connections you have. Remember, there's a wonderful saying which says that you show me your friends, I will tell who you are. Correct? So if you have wonderful, I don't say wonderful connection does not mean people with great dignitaries. No. People who do not have junk in their profiles also should be your great. If you do not have junk, but your connections have junk, so what will happen? Each posting, what will come across is junk. It's a chain reaction. So remember that you need to identify whom to connect, whom not to connect, whom to block, whom not to unblock. You are all technological savvy, much more than me and Rajesh sir and probably Alpa madam. We are far more slower, older and backward than you in these areas. But what I am trying to say is make the optimum use of these technological digital platforms. You can connect with all the veterans on the LinkedIn profile. Look, study, download top 10 LinkedIn profiles, see what are the advantages, how they have presented that profile, build your profile that way. Take professional help to build your profile. And your LinkedIn profile should have your goals clearly listed. If I get resumes of freshers, you know, I have 200 mistakes in that resumes. The first common thing that I don't find in a resume is what are they heading towards, what they want to become in life. I don't understand. The heading of a fresher's resume is looking for a great opportunity in a good organization where there is excellent work environment. What is the definition of a great opportunity? I don't understand. What is a good organization? I don't understand. What is a great work environment? I don't understand. So what a fresher has written is all goal jalebi. No clarity. Now, if I ask the student, what domain, आपको किस दुनिया में जाना है, आपको सॉफ्टवेयर में जाना है, HR में जाना है, आपको क्या काम करना है? सर, कुछ भी काम चलेगा. कुछ भी काम चलेगा तो मेरे पास क्यों आ रहे हो भाई? घर में काम वाली बाई को निकाल दो, झाड़ू पोछा मार लो, कुछ भी काम चलेगा. Am I right? So if you are a fresher and if you don't know what you want to become, so next 24 months, your topmost goal, objective is to decide what you want to become in life. If you don't have clarity of what you want to become, then I don't think so. It's like a ship in the ocean which does not know where to go. And the common top 10 answers that I get from people in the industry are, sir, I want to become a good human being. Wow, great. A wonderful statement which does not have direction. Wonderful to hear, but no direction. Sir, I want to become VP, Vice President of a company. The second common statement that I listen from people. Wow, you want to become the Vice President of a company. Which company? Doing what? Sir, that I don't know. कोई भी कंपनी में मुझे बहुत बड़ा बनना है. Wow. What you want to become? The third common question is, sir, I want to earn 6 lakhs per annum. First job. 6 lakh के नीचे पगार मिलेगा, मुझे काम नहीं करना. My first job should be 6 lakhs per annum. And slowly I want to earn 6 lakhs per month. That is my goal. I appreciate. Great goal. But how? By doing what? So that I don't know. So you can join Mumbai's Dabbawala gang and probably someday become the president of that gang and probably earn 6 lakhs a month. No problem. Or you can become a right hand of any politician and you can become. Minting money is easy, not that difficult. There are various means of minting money. I am not saying having money as a driver or a goal is wrong. But what I am trying to say, that is, your goal should be what you want to do in life. So for all those students who are here, I want to reset you to certain things. First, please have clarity what professional you want to become. Whether you want to become a digital marketing professional, whether you want to become an HR professional, whether you want to become a software professional, whether you want to become a sales professional, or whether you want to become a human evangelist, or whether you want to become an entrepreneur, what? Have a specific goal. Second, jot down those goals into smaller chunks and what traits and attributes are required to fulfill that goal. Try to learn those from your curriculum, from your HODs, from your parents, and from all those resources available around you to so that you scale up to that goal. Have a map, have a plan, learn from them. Just don't have a resume which says that I want to have a wonderful work environment. Let me tell you, a wonderful work environment does not exist. There is no company where there is wonderful work environment. There are all companies where people fight like cats and dogs. There are all companies where politics and Cold War happens. There is no company where people will always appreciate you and never scold you. There is no manager who will always talk peppy with you. All managers are the rude managers on earth. You know why they are rude managers? They are rude managers because they are always pinching you on what you have not done. And they are pinching you because you need to scale up. And they are pinching you for your betterment the way your faculties pinch you to do better. So if you imagine the ideal manager is someone who will always appreciate, you will never get such managers. If you want an ideal work environment where always you will get appreciation letter every month on month, you will not get. If you imagine every appraisal, you should get a great hike and promotion every appraisal, you will not get. And if, believe me, let me tell you, my last promotion was around 8 years ago. In last 8 years, I have not got a promotion, and that does not bother me. You know why? Because what I think is great performance, my management also should think like that, no? My definition of great performance and their definition of great performance, there could be a variance, correct? And secondly, I believe I am here to promote others. I am not here to promote myself. Second important thought is promotion is just a tagline. What you do and what you bring on table is important. I believe that I am in the same company for last 11 years. That is the biggest promotion that I have ever got. If I would not have got value on table, I would have thrown out. The world is dynamic. They expect everyone to deliver results. If Virat Kohli does not play for 2 matches, believe me, he is world's #1 batsman, but he will be in dark clouds. Today, the world's definition is very simple: perform or perish. There is no scapegoat to it. They will not go by a wonderful face, wonderful positive language, wonderful articulation. No, you have to bring in results. If your training placement officer does not take responsibility of number of students placed, his job will be in risk. He will face tremendous pressure. So everybody's job entitles them to do their KRAs. KRAs means key responsible areas. And you will have to deliver it. So it is purely perform or perish. Now to perform, after 24 months, you have got great 24 months to build yourself like a battalion. If you don't make the most of these 24 months and learn these life skills and skills which are required post-pandemic, I think you will miss out on this opportunity. So if the last 5 minutes I am telling you, after 24 months, if I have to sum it up, all students should possess great Excel sheet skills. You should learn Excel to the ultimate level. You should know pivot tables. You should know how to make charts. You should know how to make analysis. You should know VLOOKUP, all those modern formulas of Excel. If anybody who is in this seminar is not good at Excel after 24 months, you have not made the most of these learnings. Second, you should be excellent at PowerPoint presentations. You should be able to make world's best PowerPoint presentations. If you don't know, please Google various presentations made by industry veterans, download, identify, do a research of what makes a good PowerPoint presentation, what makes an average PowerPoint presentation, what makes a bad PowerPoint presentation. You also should know how to present your presentation well, how to explain your content well. You should, believe me, in my company, I don't find anybody who has a great email drafting skills. To write an email is easy. To draft a wonderful email is very difficult. If you want to put a simple thought on paper also, it becomes so difficult. 99% of the professionals today fail to write a wonderful email. They write emails every day, but they don't write wonderful emails. The art of drafting your content, ability to write well, is a rare skill set. And because of this pandemic, post-pandemic era, you will physically be less present, you will be digitally present. So your digital presence will require writing skills to the utmost ultimate level. If you have great writing skills, you will present this in your LinkedIn profile also, in your digital platforms also. So having wonderful writing skills will be the key to success. Having wonderful Excel skills will be key to success. Having great presentation skills will be the key to success. Over and above this, the content that you want to, the content knowledge of the subject that you want to graduate to or make a goal should not be what happened in the past, what is happening present, and also futuristic. What will happen in the future on this technology or on this subject ahead? You know, for example, I am thinking 10 steps ahead. Where will HR procedures and policies and practices graduate in 2025? What will happen in future? And I am working towards it so that I am in line with the technology, and when 2025 comes, I am not far behind. For me to handle the young millennials who graduate from the modern industries, I have educated some 30 years ago, and the people who graduate now are more advanced than me. My ability to handle them only happens when I am learning every day. So your ability to learn on the core content of what happened in historical content, current content, and futuristic content will also play a pivotal role in building your future. If you are able to do all these three things together while learning life skills from your school of thoughts or from your different friends, faculties, HODs, and all those people whom you interact, whether it is a sabjiwala or a liftman or a maid servant, if you have that learning attitude in life, I am sure you will make the most of it. If you reset yourself to all these skills, I will assure you that before the campus placement, you will tell Mr. Rajesh that, sir, I have got an opportunity far better than I thought. And campus placement, I'm already placed, sir, so remove my name from the campus placement. Please never put pressure on your college or the faculties or the training placement officer to fetch a job for you. If you are putting pressure on them, it indicates to me that you are a product of lesser value and you want someone to market you. If you are a product of high value, you will be automatically fetched in the market. You will not need any support to get a job. And to build yourself to a product of high value, I told you all these steps: a great digital presence, a great writing skills, great modern tools, great equipment, great learning. If you apply all these things, you will never look for a job. Companies will come looking for you. Let me honestly tell you, in my entire 24 years of experience, I have never searched for a job. The first job I got when someone heard me talking over a phone and he was amazed by my communication skills and he offered me a job in Reliance Infocom. The second job that I was offered was my manager moved from this company to some other company and he took me along with him. The third job I got was because people were looking for some retail industry expert, and they Googled and they found that I had the highest epitome of knowledge in retail industry. They came searching for me and said, sir, I need your knowledge. Can you please join us? I never applied for a job any time in last 24 years. I got job only because people came searching for me. And if you are a product of great value, people will come searching for you. You don't have to search a job. Remember, if you have to search a job, there is some manufacturing defect. You have to work on this manufacturing defect. This is all from my end for now. I would want Rajesh sir to say something on what he felt about whatever I have spoken. Thank you.
Sudhir, if I may call you Sudhir. Sudhir, you know what? I'm very upset for the fact that I have nothing left to speak. Okay? Because honestly, I mean, you resonate everything that I would have wanted the students to know, especially on a first day, because there is so much of value that we share. You know, and as you rightly said, I think we should have met at least maybe 20 years earlier. We probably would have been doing some amazing work together too. But the fact remains, everything that Sudhir said is not out of some textbook. Let me tell you that. Okay, it's pure experience. Okay, and you cannot undermine an experience. All right. So I can see a lot of people nodding, a lot of people smiling, but at the same time, a lot of people sounding or looking confused. All right. So believe me, the first thing is start getting the grasp of what is coming to you. And this is the very first interaction. All right. You will probably have even other people telling you the same thing, but in a very different format. All right. But the basic content that people will tell you is going to be very similar. Okay. As he what Sudhir absolutely said, you know, I mean, I was amazed by what he said, and I haven't heard too many people saying that about family. Believe me, you know, as Sudhir said about his mom, you know, but some of us probably did not appreciate even then what our parents were meant to us or the values they brought in. All right. And believe me, some of us had to do it later in life. Okay. But it still holds huge value. Okay. And believe me, the biggest learnings will come from your home. And you know, we end up ignoring it. All right. It's later when you become, I mean, you're all young. Believe me, we have all gone through the same age. Okay. I thought, you know, what would my dad know better than, you know, I'm the one who's doing an MBA. I mean, he's not done an MBA, right? So he just worked. And believe me, when I realized, you know, he had so much to share, it's just that, oh, he's my dad. I'm not supposed to talk to him. You know, he's supposed to just tell me what to do. And, you know, I mean, I would rather tell my mom about everything else rather than talk to my dad. But, you know, when you sit across your dad as a boy, you know, I'm sure it works reversely for guys and in general, right? So amount of value that your family can give you in terms of the knowledge that they would have gained in their work experience is immense. Okay, if there are values that I've imbibed, it's because of my parents, and both my parents were working, by the way. So and you know 6 o'clock means 6 o'clock. There is no two ways about it. Okay, I have not given and even till date, you know, for me that time management is important. Okay, I still remember when, you know, this is just a story I kept telling my team just the last month. You know, when I just completed 2 years with Vidya Alankar. It was on the 29th of July, I think, or 20, well, you know, 2 years ago, in 2018, when there was those riots in Bombay for the Maratha thing, right? I had two things to do that day. Okay, one was to go and pick up my sister from the airport. She was coming down. Okay, and if people remember that, there was no way you could have gone there. Okay, I managed to do that, and the same day, I had to meet the chairman here. Okay, to, you know, understand what we want to build this all about, and I had to reach at 4 o'clock in the evening again, and I managed both because I just knew that I had to do this, and it's not. And as you said, you know, I did not apply. I was asked to join them because they knew what value I was going to bring to the table. Okay, and that's very important. Okay, you know, so many things I can resonate. I can just keep repeating what Sudhir said. I said, you know, that's what he's taken away my moment of glory here. Okay, but the fact is that a lot of things that what he said are not some made up stories. You know, he's read some fables and he's telling you stories. So I hope I saw some of you also taking some notes. Very good. Believe me, just don't take those notes and keep it away. Start implementing it. And as he said, you only have 24 months. And I'm telling you again, it's only 24 months. Okay. Every day matters. Every moment that matters, you know, and it's not that, oh, after this, I think I'm going to take a break and, you know, okay, today's session is over now. Let me go and chill. Believe me. And what he said is very, very important. You have joined this program at the best opportunity. This is the best opportunity because you're learning this is going to be three folds, okay, than a normal student who would have joined in a normal time, okay. And as he said, we have gone through three cycles of those, and we know the kind of challenges we faced, okay. And learning, and that's a bottom line for us also, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, it's very, very important. You have to keep evolving. There is no other way you're going to grow in your career. Okay, I mean, I can, as I said, repeat everything that he said, but I think I can't agree more with what all he has said. And technology again. I think there is no way, whether you want to be anything, right from a salesperson to the managing director, or even today, even if you, as I said, even my watchman knows what technology is. All right, he knows how to send something across. Everything is technology, and if you think that you're not going to use it, or it doesn't really, you're not going to be using it for your so-called career, you're absolutely mistaken, guys. Okay, but while I say that, I would also want you to have a more positive approach. Okay, smile a lot. Okay, believe me, I can see everybody, kya bolne wale hain? Kuch nahi bolenge hum logon ko, theek hai? It's not going to be that, okay? Life is not as serious as you look. Thanks, Ibrahim, for smiling, at least, after all. Finally, okay? While Sudhir was speaking, I was just looking at the faces that I can see. Believe me, a world is a wonderful place even now, with all the possibilities, all the problems that you have, okay? It's only going to be better when you put your heads to it, okay? And if there are no challenges, you could all be sitting at home, believe me. And there are only new challenges, and there you are at the right moment to ensure you can make a difference. Right, Harsh?
Any questions from the students?
Smile, if wonderful.
Students want to ask any questions?
Absolutely. Open forum. No, I think let's start the classroom. Okay, let's pick up students.
I could see wonderful expression from Ishita Dubey.
Yeah.
Could see Sandesh Kharat, Deepika, Mukesh. Great expressions. Some names I don't know because the display screen says VSB Zoom. The lady. Yeah. So amazing expressions, and I could understand that some of them could relate certain topics, which was very nice. Yes, but it is important that I portrayed a right picture that you will not get a great manager. That does not mean always you will get a bad manager. That surely means most of us expect appreciation 24/7. What I wanted to show is the reality and the mirror that yes, we'll have to work hard.
I'm sure you heard of the saying, you can't choose your family and your bosses, right?
Correct.
Believe me, that's true.
Yes. So any questions from the students? Anything that you would want me to answer?
So I have one question which has come up.
Yeah.
So would you like to take that up?
Yeah, please.
So it is, what is the importance of networking and how can we make it effective being a fresher?
Okay. The networking is going to be an important tool for everyone now, because you are slowly creating a circle of like-minded people or similar professionals who are going to evolve over a period of time. So as a fresher, you will have to create network of people who are on the ground working on a topic which you are interested in, and then slowly build on level one who are working on the ground, so that you get to the ground level and understand how they are working on whatever topic you want to do, and slowly discuss with them certain things, and then one level up so that you understand the micro and the top macro level also. So building a network is of paramount importance, but it is up to you to choose which kind of network you want to build. Just don't believe in having large numbers in your network. Believe in having quality people with a direction of selecting people. If you are able to do that, you will do wonderful.
Excellent.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. I have a question. I've been trying to connect with a lot of professionals on LinkedIn. but
Your voice is not audible. Can you be a little louder?
hello, hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I was trying to connect with a lot of professionals on LinkedIn profile, but the major problem that I face is the daily basis, they receive a lot of messages from candidates such as me. So, what extra could I do to stand out from the rest of the crowd?
Sorry, I could not. Can you type your message because your voice is
Yeah,
not
sure,
audible?
sure, sure, sir.
There is someone who has written to me is Momita Sarkar. Written to me is how can we make our LinkedIn profile most attractive in terms of technology and how can we make use of
Sudhir sir, sorry to interrupt, really sorry to interrupt you, but then this meeting might end in the next 5 minutes. So if in case it ends, I request everybody to re-log in from the same link which was sent to you all. Yeah?
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. The question that comes from Momita Sarkar is how can we make our LinkedIn profile more attractive? I would say that we should focus on making our LinkedIn profile genuine. I always believe being genuine is being attractive. So only how to articulate what you are, you need to look at few profiles, do a research. I can give you ready-made answers, but I don't want to. I always said that the most improving skill set, the most important skill set students researching. So please do a research on what is the definition of a good LinkedIn profile. You can also call up LinkedIn sales professionals so that for subscription, they will guide you as for sales pitch, how to make a good profile and use that knowledge and build. You may choose not to buy the subscription also, no problem. But please do a thorough research and build in a good professional profile and slowly keep on. I think it will value add. Should we wait for the systems to log out and log in? How many more minutes to go?
So we've got 15 more minutes to go, so I don't think that should be a problem.
Okay. I think we can take up one more question. The Ishita Dubey writes, what is expected from students during the post-pandemic? See, post-pandemic, from a recruitment point of view, I will tell the recruitment is going to be based on niche skill set. It is not going to be based on number of people required. So I believe all students post-pandemic or all prospective employers or employees should build in various hands-on skill set. So if you want to become a digital professional, you should have hands-on. So for all these students, internship will play a pivotal role. So I want all of you to focus on two important things. Ensure that your projects, you have done due diligence and worked hard enough to grill yourself to make that project worthwhile. Don't do a project for the sake of doing a project. Get involved and grill yourself for that. Second is grill yourself in the internship program. If you are absorbed by the same company where you did your internship, you have done your job well. So these are my 2 cents for the question that Ishita had asked me.
I think there's another question which comes from Kaveri. She says, can you advise how to build a foundation of morals and ethics being a fresher in the industry?
Oh, it's a wonderful question. Who's asked this?
This is Kaveri.
Kaveri, okay. Yeah. Kaveri, it is a wonderful question to ask. I'm happy that, at your level, you are able to ask such a wonderful question. See, morals and ethics is something that we learn from our own school of thoughts and our family. Family is the first school which teaches us morals. But there are a lot of things which family will never teach us. For example, your family never taught you to be in a relationship, but you still fell into a relationship. Correct? For example, your family never taught you to disrespect anyone, but you still did. Your family never taught you to be arrogant, but you still are at times. Correct? So there are a lot of things which our family not teach us, but we learn. This is what we call as gathering masses in our journey, what we learn. You know, what is most important is the view of ethics and morals comes to existence when you are at a junction, when you don't know which road to choose. That is the time when you come at a moral junction. For example, if you are working somewhere and if someone offers you a bribe, it's a lucrative lollipop. Whether to accept it or whether to not to accept it is a Y junction. Correct? So whenever you come at a Y junction, remember something which is not attractive and something which is a difficult road is a road of truth. So the best, simplest formula to stick to the moral value is don't get lured by the lollipops given or the distractions that come your way. Choose the path which is difficult, choose the path which is made of hard work, choose the path which is given to you by the family value system. I think this is the simplest way of identifying the rights and the wrongs or the do's and the don'ts of life. All shortcuts may not necessarily be of moral value system. Understand one important thing to build in life. The first building that you need to do is you have to build a character. A good character built can build a nation. A bad character can ruin a nation. So I believe character, these 24 months will be the foundation building of your character, and I am sure Vidyalankar Institute, as I know, was wonderful in building a character. How much you build on, further on that depends on every individual how to take it forward. I hope I have answered your question.
Sir, there is one more question from Ajinkya. He's saying that how can he make his profile stand out on LinkedIn so that people, senior position people can accept his invitation? Because students, when students an invitation, there are many people who don't accept. So that's the major problem, how they can, build their profile stand out.
This is also a very practical question. No industry veteran will accept your LinkedIn request as a friend. When you send a request, there is a column which says add. So you will have to write down to me, if I have to accept your request, why you intend to connect with me. What is the purpose of connect? If in that notes, if you write, sir, I want to learn something about performance management system that could help me in my career. Or, sir, I want to know your success story, what enabled you to be so successful. Or, sir, I want to know about the technological trends. If you write down your objective of connecting to him, most likely chances that industry veterans will accept your request rather than just a plain request sent. So again, I will highlight the point that I shared is art of articulating your thoughts well plays a vital role here in veterans accepting your request. So if you can draft your thought well while sending messages, I am sure 90% of the veterans will accept your request.
Thank you, sir.
There's one more question which is coming from Kaveri itself. So she's saying, how can we effectively communicate with someone if we have trouble understanding what they are saying, especially during the current era of online sessions?
How can we? Can you go again, please?
Communicate effectively with somebody, especially during the current era of online sessions, wherein people might have trouble in understanding what you tend to communicate.
Okay. See, clarity of communication comes with the basic principle of clarity of thought. if you have a clarity of thought about your intent, your objective, and what you want to say with the listener's perspective, chances of you being successful in your communication will be very high. But if your clarity of thought is missing, if you are really not sure what are you intending to achieve in that transaction, I am sure your communication will be lost in translation. So it is important for all of us, for any communication that we have with anyone, we should be very clear what is our intent and objective. So once again, to sum it up, clarity of thought will help you to achieve your communication.
So I think we can take a last question if you don't mind. One student has asked, what are the great books if you could suggest in terms of morale and ethics should they should read? Your personal recommendation, this is what he's asking.
Okay. See, I would say that there are a lot of books. I am a great fan of Philip Kotler. I am a great fan of Dr. Bruno, Albert Bruno, The Art of Thinking. And there are a lot of people. Simon Sinek is one of a great TED speaker that I am a fan of. If you can listen to a lot of, my suggestion is go to TED speakers and select the topic and listen to TED speaker. One guru mantra that I will give: every day listen to one TED speaker of your choice based on the topic that you select. In next 24 months, you should have, jitna number of days hota hai, 365 into 700, you should have listened to 700 TED speakers of your choice. Believe me, if you follow this one thumb rule, after 24 months, you will remember me that I have given you a great advice and it would have made your life.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, sir. We couldn't, I'm sure, I couldn't agree more on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the advantage of having everything online today. I'm sure me and you forget 10 years ago did not have that opportunity, where we could have listened to so many people. Absolutely. No, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. There's so much content online and good content that, you have all the time in your hand to do all that. Absolutely. Great. Mr. Sudhir, thanks for this wonderful interaction. And I'm sure everybody on this panel would agree they would have only gained so much and learned so much in the first couple of hours of their being in this college, if you want to use that term right now, an online session. Okay. They couldn't, nobody could have asked for more. All right. We're really indebted to you for this, Sudhir. And as I said, on a personal note, we should connect more often. And I think we would also love to have you back again on a more formal classroom session for them to understand. We could pick up topics that you would love to teach our students going forward. And I'm sure I'm sure there is nobody who would say they don't want to listen to you anymore. That I can guarantee. I'm sure there will be a lot of interaction that students would love to have with you.
I have texted my email address and phone numbers for the audience if you have professional queries.
Right.
Please don't shoot to me relationship queries or any other queries. I am not a doctor of that. I am here for any career advice or any professional queries or education or certification or internship or job placement related. Anybody can text me. I generally don't take phone calls because my phone is a call center and it's always busy. The best mode of communication that I prefer is text or email. I am open to help students, but whatever communication you have with me, please keep your faculties in loop so that they are aware that what is happening between an industry veteran and their students, because this will enable them to inculcate whatever I share with in their coaching as well. And similarly, they will also understand in what way am I giving you direction while they are also giving direction. So it's a cumulative effort. Rajesh sir, it is wonderful being with you. And
absolutely, my pleasure.
I could identify that our school of thoughts are in line. And I am so happy that you agreed to it at the end. And, you know, it goes hand in hand. I'm very much happy to be a part of Vidya Alankar, and I feel proud that, you know, you wish me to join your institute whenever things go working.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. You know, there is, as you rightly said, you know, a lot of the young generation brings in so much with themselves. Okay, that you kept saying veterans. You know, I only keep myself young talking to them. Believe me, because if we lose that touch, you know, we will ourselves miss out on our learning also. You know,
Absolutely.
We have so much to learn from them, and you know, while we give them from our learnings of decades, but there is so much that we learn from them, because if we have to sustain ourselves for the next 30 years, we have to be in touch with them too. You know, we have to accept what they bring to the table too. So it's a give and take from both the end. But yes, we would love to have you back again, Sudhir sir, and you know, I'm sure the students would love to hear you talk on a different platform, a different topic altogether. And we are all thankful to you for today's.
Anytime. Thank you, students. Thank you, Alpa madam, and thank you. It was wonderful. And also the IT team who worked on the background to create this happen. All those people who worked on the backdrop, whom I don't know, there could have been a lot of efforts which have gone in making this event a success. I personally thank each and everyone who contributed to this webinar to make it a success. Thanks. And once again, thank you to all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.